The clock has started.
Welcome back to another UK space news update. And before we ask just what the heck has happened to 2025 being our year, I want to first pay tribute to Frank Strang, CEO of Saxavord Spaceport, who just a few weeks ago it was revealed has been diagnosed with terminal cancer. This came as an absolute shock, and like many, from my own little corner of YouTube, I just want to pay tribute to Frank, who, alongside his wife Debbie, began the journey to Saxavord 20 years ago. Little did they know that buying an old RAF radar station on the UK's most northerly isle would lead to the incredible journey this country is on to becoming sovereign launch capable. Through many, many struggles, Frank has driven Saxavord from the ground up to now standing on the precipice of finally seeing the first launch from the UK's very first spaceport. Saxavord will continue, and his legacy will be carried into the stars. I wish him all the very best as he and his family navigate this incredibly difficult time. But above all else, I just want to say, on behalf of every spaceflight enthusiast in the country, thank you. Now, my last space news update was a few months ago, and if you've followed me on my social channels, you'll know I had to step away for just a wee while. But on coming back, I was rather hoping that we'd be close to first launch. Alas, that's not the case. Or at least, that's what we thought. Because in what is the biggest news of the year so far, Britain finally has a licensed domestic launch provider. And that provider is Skyrora. Yes, in the early morning of the 5th of August, the CAA granted Skyrora their launch operator's license to allow them to fly the Skylark L from Saxavord. This is fantastic news and just caps years of hard work for the company, who started with small, off-the-shelf rockets way back in 2017. The license allows for a single flight of the Skylark L before they have to go back to the regulator for a review. If the flight is successful, in whatever form that takes, the CAA will then allow them to carry out up to 16 launches per year following this. This, of course, relates to their suborbital launcher and not the larger Skyrora XL, which remains in active development. And of course, the Skylark L is 11 meters long. It's capable of carrying payloads of up to 50 kilograms to an apogee of about 102 kilometers, just above the Kármán line. So yeah, it might not be fully orbital. However, we are going to eventually send something to space by a domestic launch provider from a domestic spaceport. And that, my friends, is the coolest thing I've heard all year. But the caveat to this is that they are relying on Saxavord being ready. We'll have more on that in a bit. But should Saxavord not quite be good to go, then they may turn their attention to one of their other launch partners in Iceland or Woomera, Australia. And just think how fitting that would be, given Skyrora intends to eventually retrieve Britain's first satellite launched by a domestic provider, Prospero, which was launched from Woomera in the 1970s. Still though, this is incredible news, and congratulations to the whole team. What a sigh of relief they must be breathing after fighting hard to achieve this milestone. However, Orbex announced they're pushing their maiden flight of the still-to-be-seen, apart from that mock-up from a few years ago, Prime rocket to 2026. No reason has been given for the delay, but, as with any first-time rocket launch, they'll want to make sure they have the best possible chance at success. So, you can imagine that they are tinkering away back in the workshop to make sure that everything is right the first time we actually see it. Still though, I do wonder if they are biting off more than they can chew with the addition of a larger rocket to their portfolio, as part of the European Launcher Challenge. Before they've actually launched anything at all. RFA continue to work on their RFA-1 rebuild following last August's epic explosion on the pad at Saxavord, and they're aiming to get the replacement launcher back to Shetland by the end of the year. High Impulse have also been somewhat quiet, apart from some engine testing of those hybrid rocket engines. Obviously, they are still working diligently on the SL1, and this testing campaign will prove these engines for use in their larger orbital vehicle. But, having seen and read their updated Assessment of Environmental Effects document from April this year, they were aiming for a possible September launch attempt of the SR-75 from Saxavord. Interestingly, the document confirms they intend to use launchpad number 2, which is Callum. They aim to conduct one launch per year from 2026, in what is no doubt reference to the SL1. So, at the moment, 2025 is looking pretty bleak for seeing an actual launch from Saxavord. But that being said, launchpad number 2, Callum, is under construction, and work continues on the integration hangar and other buildings at the site. We all just have to remember that Rome wasn't built in a day, and it's been at least pleasing to see things continuing to move forward. Luckily, Anders Povlsen and the rest of the financiers, including the UK government, are still fully behind the spaceport, so we will see it completed over the next couple of years. Realistically, they only need 2 launch pads. One, of course, to be used by RFA, that's Fredo, and the second for the others. If there is only one planned launch by each company in 2026, then pad availability won't be an issue. By the time that launch pad number 3, Elizabeth, is finished, hopefully we'll see more launch providers using Saxavord. Remember, back in 2024, there was talk of Rocket Lab and JAXA, amongst others, using the site. But could we even see PLD Space, Maya, or others using it too? Now, one of my favourite startups, Ambasat, have also seen the completion of their first CubeSat, a 3U-sized satellite measuring 10cm by 10cm by 34cm in height, stacked with the first chipsats and ready for launch. They await a launch license of their own, as required by every company who intends to launch a satellite from the UK, and from there they'll be ready to ship out to their chosen launch provider, which is Skyrora. For me, this is the very best part of this. Domestic satellites being flown on domestic launchers from a domestic spaceport. And look, I get it. Chipsats aren't maybe as exciting as the big JWST-sized projects, but they make access to space so much easier. And crucially, they can be built by anyone. For school STEM projects, this is invaluable for inspiring the next generation of engineers and scientists. And with the intention to fly them to between 3 and 500 kilometer altitudes, they'll be placed into a decaying orbit, meaning they won't all become floating space debris for years to come, something that remains a backbone of the UKSA goals for Britain's presence in space. Speaking of which, the UK Space Agency recently set out a tender invite for companies to put forward more space debris removal proposals. Now, this one confused me somewhat initially, as only last year Astroscale appeared to be in pole position to carry out said space debris removal operations, with successful tests of their ELSA-D and ELSA-M spacecraft. I can only assume that the UK government is pushing to have multiple companies all carrying out debris removal, either British in origin or launched from Britain. In a market dominated by the likes of SpaceX, Arianespace, ISRO and others for putting larger payloads into orbit, you can see why the UK government would want to try and capture the debris removal market right out of the gate. Like many others, I'm right behind this proposal, as space is only becoming more cluttered, thanks in no small part to SpaceX with Starlink, Amazon with Kuiper, and even OneWeb with their larger broadband constellations, now taking up an even bigger footprint in orbit around the Earth. And while those satellites do have decaying orbits, we can't allow Earth orbit to become cluttered to the point of being unusable. It's already been a problem for the ISS for years to navigate space junk, so having something to tackle the problem of, for the time being, the larger trackable objects, this makes complete sense. So, there you have it for now. This year hasn't exactly been full of news, and truth be told has made my absence somewhat easier. But as we head into the back end of the year, we'll no doubt start to see more movement. Who knows, maybe 2026 will be our year, right? Congratulations again to Skyrora, and I can't wait to head on up to watch the launch. If you haven't already, check out my latest fun project video, where I dive into the funniest pranks and silly moments by astronauts. And while you're there, click the subscribe button to support the channel. As usual, thank you to everyone over on Patreon for your amazing support. I've been Tom June, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.